there's always been this essence of, I want to send an email, I want to wait and see if they respond and do if this or that. But the real context around the capabilities of technology nowadays are, I can really keep track of what's going on with my contacts. You know, I know if they walk into my store, I know if they're looking at my emails, and when they do this, I can make the right decisions and use standard analytics as well as artificial intelligence that comes pre-baked in with the Microsoft tools to get the right messaging to them at the right time so they can make the best decisions and have the best experience possible. So with that, we get into actually starting to see some of the components of the application itself. One of the most powerful pieces, actually it is the most powerful piece here, the piece that often is very disconnected within most of our clients, and I've seen a lot of them, is how do we get our marketing efforts and our marketing teams aligned with our sales team and their sales efforts, and the right way to do that. And really what we end up incorporating in the system here is what you're seeing on the screen is this whole concept of a lead to opportunity marketing sales process. It's kind of that red bar that's showing up there across the top, where we take this initial inquiry. The customer did something, they submitted a form, they walked in a store, like I said, they downloaded our application, whatever it is, where we're able to actually generate this initial interest into the system. And we take that information and we start progressing it through our lead scoring models. And in that effort, you know, we actually get a little more connected with the data that's already in the system, whether it's from sales or your operational data from ERP. And we're able to apply really thorough scoring. From a marketing standpoint, we can say, hey, the marketing team, we did this, we got this level of a score that you can kind of see down at the bottom right there. And you know what, Mr. or Mrs. Salesperson, this is a great lead. Go ahead, get a hold of them. I think they're going to buy something. So within that, we utilize customer journeys pretty often. And this is an example of a real-time customer journey in the system, where you can see right at the top of the screen, that highlighted box. In this example, somebody submitted a form actually from our website or from a landing page or maybe from LinkedIn, whatever it happens to be. And the form came in with some data. We send them a default email as we progress downward. And then we're waiting for them to click on the email. And if they do or if they don't, we kind of have a split decision there. And if they do, you know, we're sending them a text message saying, hey, here's some information. And then we're waiting a few days. And then we're keeping them engaged with a second text message. And obviously this can go on semi-indefinitely. And on the same construct, we go down the no path of, hey, you know, they didn't do anything with this first email. We waited a few days or whatever our timeline is. And then we send them a second email and we wait another timeline. And then in this scenario, we're sending them another text message. So it's really comprehensive how we can streamline this. We can branch this out in many different ways. You know, there's a lot of other conditions. I mentioned artificial intelligence. We utilize Azure's capabilities as our contacts are in the system. We start to recognize their behavior patterns, and we can actually incorporate some logic in here to say, hey, we're going to set up some A/B testing, and you know, when this contact funnels through, if they tend to go this way, deliver this message, but if they tend to go that way, deliver this other message. And it maximizes a lot of our deliverability in that context as well.
I love this. I think it's really powerful to see it visually like this, and it's so easy to use from a user perspective. I mean, I am not a marketing professional by any means, but this makes perfect sense to me. So this new layout of customer journeys, I think, is really cool.
Yeah.
What about this layout too? Can you tell us what's happening on this one, Nathan?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is just another way to keep track of your customer journeys. And honestly, there's about 5 different ways you can do it, but this is a calendar view. So within the application, you know, if your journeys are structured around certain timelines, if your campaign is intended only to run for 4 or 5 days, those kinds of scenarios, which is obviously not a restriction, but if you have a time-boxed campaign, absolutely you can keep track of them in this kind of a context of when they're going to kick off, when the landing page will go live, when an email would initially go out, that scenario.
Nice.
Hey, Britt, I think I'm going to talk about this next thing.
Yeah.
Creating segments. So segments are important in Dynamics marketing because this is really where we're building an audience. So Nathan just kind of talked about journeys there. Oftentimes journeys begin with just a segment of people. So again, building an audience. And you can do that via demographics, geographic locations, for example, firmographics, which is like based on sales data, whether that's sales data in your ERP or contained in Dynamics. So it can be ERP data that we're querying to build these audience lists. It can be behavioral, based on like any people that maybe have opened a previous email that we have sent out. Of course, it can just be a static list, like maybe people that are in your monthly newsletter list. And it can also be combined things, like maybe it's demographic, maybe it's firmographic, but we don't want to include the people that are in a monthly newsletter for some particular reason. So it can be all of those things. So super powerful, but they often kick off our customer journeys. You can also build these queries using what's called natural language. So an administrator can just flip on natural language inside of Dynamics, and you can actually literally come in here and verbally say to the system, I want all contacts in the state of New York that have purchased product XYZ in the past 3 years. And then it will build that query for you. So super powerful tool here to build these segments.
I love that. I think that's really powerful. And as someone who's not a data scientist, it looks like something I could do myself. So very cool.
So then once we have our segments built, typically you're going to want some sort of content in your customer journeys, whether it be an email or a text message. It can be other things as well. But so inside of the Dynamics marketing application, you can build rich email marketing and rich text experiences for your customers. So it has the ability to drag and drop content. You see that on this screen here. Britt, you want to just go to the next slide real quick? It's kind of a little demo that'll be running in the background here. But you can drag and drop items onto your emails or text messages. You can also do HTML. So if you're using maybe an outside tool like Dreamweaver or something like that, and you just want to copy the HTML out of there and paste it in here, you can do that as well. But it's designed to be an email experience where you've got a library of content stored inside of Dynamics where your marketing professionals can go into that library and drag and drop those images and other things onto the email. You can also get a preview of what they look like with different operating systems and different devices. And then in the end, once those emails are being used, you're going to get some metrics on every single email that you send out. So how many opens did we get? How many click-throughs? Of course, how many bounces did we get? There's also, it's not shown here, but you can actually call up that email and see a pretty cool heat map of that email to see what links are people most interacting with. So if you have multiple links on a single email, you can see which links people are actually interacting with the most. So that's kind of cool analytics that you can get on every single email.
And it's all built in the system now, right? I mean, Jeff, gone are the days of these outside email systems that you have to, build your segments, download your lists of customers, upload it somewhere else, run your email campaign, and then your salespeople can actually see this data too. And as a salesperson, I would say that's pretty nice. All right. You hinted on this one earlier, Nathan.
Yes, I got to remember to always click the mute aspect, the unmute. I was about to talk and saw the big red circle again. But yeah, so lead scoring. So this is a very powerful piece. It's a piece that honestly most companies do not have in place and working correctly. Everybody wants to do it, but it's really challenging to get set up correctly. But we do have the capabilities baked in here. So really what you're seeing on the left there is the aspect around setting a lead scoring model up in the system around demographic and firmographic scores. So we can look at the data that's coming in, or maybe the timestamps that are coming in from our website tracking that we actually are not even going to talk about here because there's too much content to talk about. But let's say we track users across our website and we can see what regions they're in. We have some data. We know what industry they're in. Perhaps they submitted a form and told us what their urgency levels are. So with that, we can assign there's a lot of conditions. We can assign points to that. And, that all incorporates into our lead scoring model, like I mentioned here off to the right then, where there's a lead that came in, and in the bottom right, you can see this lead actually has 20 points in this lead scoring model we've got set up. And we can get it structured up very comprehensive to where, as Billy submits his info and he tracks around through web pages, we can add points and deduct points. And we have it set up with a threshold to, let's say, maybe 50 points is our threshold, where we automatically qualify them at 50 points and say, hey, here you go. This is a perfect lead to reach out to now.
I think that's great. And as a busy salesperson, again, having someone score your leads as an individual can be hard. And allowing your system to do that for you just means you're going to bubble up those customers that are ready to buy or have a question or a need to the top, and I think save everybody a lot of time and money. So
yeah,
that's great.
Exactly. So you can move on there, because the next couple slides are just snapshots of some of the other pieces where Jeff dabbled into it a little bit when he was showing the interactions, but we do get some analytical insights that come within the application around, leads and events and whatever we're really having them do. So you can kind of see in this scenario, there's a lead progression over time in the bottom left, some of the interactions that this person has actually done, and it presents it in a nice graphical interface there.
And is this standard out of the box with Dynamics dashboard?
This one here is, yep, absolutely.
Cool.
And this is another dashboard that's designed for marketers themselves as they're in the system. Just to kind of keep track of what's going on with your campaigns at a quick snapshot. You can see that leads are coming in from certain campaigns, what they're rated on based on your lead scoring models, what's been opened, what's been closed, and quickly navigate where you need to go in the system is the intent in this view.
Awesome. Someone's got to get qualifying these leads from November 2017, it looks like.
Yeah. Exactly. And then the other aspect of what Jeff was showing a little bit earlier here is this linear interaction timeline that we get with each lead or contact that comes into the system. We can take a look and see, hey, where they started, how they've progressed through our marketing efforts, what pages have they visited, what forms have they submitted, and how old is this lead in the system. So it really gives us that capability to look back and understand where people come from, how they interact with our company, and eventually close the loop into, giving us the capability as to identify what are the most powerful entry points and what drove them to become customers at the end of the day.
And this is so easy to read. It seems like Microsoft has really embraced kind of that graphical format and showing and telling stories with data without having to look at lists. You can still look at lists of your data, but this is just so much easier to consume the information and draw a conclusion.
Absolutely. If you really love Excel, we can give you that too. We can give you that old school look. But you're right. This is the more modern and easier to read, easier to understand aspect.
Not your grandma's CRM.
Yep, exactly.
I like it.
Yeah, as Nathan was talking about with these lead scorings, as well as journeys, but a big part of Dynamics marketing is the ability to create your own marketing forms or marketing pages. And very similar to the email building that we talked about a little bit ago, as well as the text messaging, you have the ability to go in and create your own marketing pages or web pages inside of Dynamics 365 for marketing. So this is print screen of that. So you can see it's a drag and drop. You can add text, you can add fields of information onto the form. Of course, you can put images. The libraries and templates are still in play, just like when we built an email a little while ago. We do the same things with marketing forms. A couple examples of some marketing forms that are going to be the most common are going to be like if you're hosting an event, you might want to build a form for that for people to register for that event. It might be just a simple contact us form that is just going to capture maybe somebody brand new off of your website. We also use these marketing forms for like subscription management. So once you have a known person landing on your web page, they can opt in and out of different subscriptions like your blogs and monthly newsletters and things like that. So those are some common examples of marketing forms. Once we build these forms, they can be hosted directly on a self-hosted site. So that would be like a Microsoft portal. There's such things as like an event portal that we're not even going to get into today, but these forms can be hosted on these Microsoft portals, or if you just got an existing website, which probably everybody does, and existing web pages, we can take snippets of code out of here and just embed them on your current website. And then people interact with these marketing forms right in your current website, and we'll be capturing that information real time as people are visiting that form, as well as maybe submitting a form, like this example here.
And Jeff, this means that you don't just have to get a generic email sent to an email inbox saying somebody reached out to you on your website. It goes right into Dynamics, so you can start
Yeah, that's what I was
using
going
it.
to say. There's no aspect of, it's building a Google Sheet or anything like that. Like this flows directly into your system.
Yeah, skip that extra step. I like it. I like it.
And when we were talking about those journeys earlier, this can be actions as part of that. So if somebody visited that form, that maybe put them into a unique customer journey, or we might be waiting for them to visit a form if they're already in an existing journey. So it just works all together with the journeys and all these things that Britt and Nathan talked about.
I love it. And then what do you do with all of that data?
Well, we talk really fast because we're starting to run short on time is what we do. But with that said, there are some pre-baked analytical dashboards in the system in marketing. It's hooked into Power BI, which if you're not familiar is a great analytic tool. It's one of the best out there. You do get some of that within the system as well as the capability to extend it out of the system and utilize the Power BI application, which is completely configurable, customizable for your business, because as you're well aware, every reporting tool that you've ever gotten never fits your business perfectly and it needs to be adjusted. And we have awesome people here that can do that, including myself. So, so with that, then, yeah, and eventually the goal here, one of the new pieces here, if you can go back to that last slide real quick, Britt. I do want to mention this because this is a great snapshot of customer insights from Microsoft. It's one of their newest tools where they're really wrapping together all the data from ERP systems, from CRM systems, from marketing systems, and whatever else we hook into it, and giving you the capability to understand what is happening with your customers in a nice graphical interface, their sentiment, operational data, so that you can really get a quick snapshot into what's going on across the board with your company.
Yeah, so kind of in summary of what we kind of really quickly went over today. So Dynamics Marketing builds that foundation for all of your customer engagement activities. So we saw that leads are being generated from marketing, and then that's all embedded in that lead to opportunity process that Nathan first showed us. It generates data and intelligence. We're seeing what customers, how they're interacting with us, whether it be on your website or emails and that type of thing. We're listening to that data, so we're listening to what those customers are doing. And then it, of course, is our primary tool for customer communications. We talked a lot about the sales side of it, but we use marketing all the time for customer experiences in the customer service world. Customers submit a support case, we're using the marketing application to send them surveys and emails and things like that.